What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video on Get Up, they're going to be talking about how Kawhi Leonard is not going to be playing in Game 5 and might miss the rest of the series because of a knee injury he had in Game 4. So let's see what they have to say about that.
We're back on Get Up on a morning filled with enormous breaking news. We begin with this, reporting from our Brian Windhorst and Ramona Shelburne that Kawhi Leonard, with a knee injury he suffered in the final moments of Game 4 the other night, will miss tonight's Game 5 between the Clippers and Jazz in Utah, and his status for the remainder of this series is in jeopardy. We saw him colliding with Joe Ingles the other night late in the game. His team was way ahead, and Jalen Rose joins us here, and I see you shaking your head. Go ahead, I'll give you the floor, big fella. What's your reaction?
So this is a major problem for the LA Clippers, having Kawhi have to sit out due to injury. I do not trust Paul George. I do not trust Paul George at all. He's too inconsistent and good to not show up, although he has had to pass a good past couple of games with Kawhi Leonard. But without Kawhi Leonard, he's good to just not show up, just kind of give, hey, Kawhi Leonard's not here, it's over. So he might just disappear, or he might come and ball out. I don't know. He's just too inconsistent. I do not trust him. And this is a huge problem for the Clippers not having Kawhi Leonard.
This is not good for the NBA, the Los Angeles Clippers, the news about Kawhi Leonard's injury. This, in theory, was the impetus that got him out of San Antonio. Whether it was misdiagnosed by the Spurs, we'll never truly know the story. But you remember, Greeny, because that's when we first started this show. And he played 9 games for the Spurs that year. And he went on to become a Toronto Raptor, had to rehabilitate his reputation, and also won a championship there. So now going home to the Clippers, with the Lakers eliminated in the first round, the Clippers, for the first time in the history of their franchise, have the canvas of Los Angeles for everybody to watch and celebrate the greatness of Kawhi Leonard, who he and Paul George just had back-to-back 30-point games. And when you look at the All-NBA team, Kawhi's first team. But when you look at the MVP race, we never talked about Kawhi. You know why? It wasn't because the Clippers weren't good. It's because, unfortunately, he became the face of load management.
Mm-hmm. And that load management issue is fuel for the haters to hate on Kawhi Leonard.
Adam Silver came on this show and told us it was more maintenance with players like this that miss games. So for now, his knee injury to cause him to miss the end of the playoff game, and now a significant time potentially, it would be hard-pressed for him to come back in this series in particular. I just hope, without speculating, it doesn't cost him the rest of this season.
So I hope it doesn't cost him the rest of the season either. But again, like I said, Paul George is way inconsistent. I don't trust him. Even if he does show up and he has a game, is he going to have an average game? Is it going to be enough? I can't picture him stepping up the way Kevin Durant did last night and put up somewhere around 50. I know that's out of Paul George's range. But if he steps it up, is it even going to be enough? Is he even going to show up? I just don't know. I don't trust Paul George. And having Kawhi Leonard be out, that's a major problem. That's a major problem. Maybe, just maybe, the Clippers can, win this game and stretch it out, and maybe Kawhi Leonard will be able to come back. But I don't know. At this point, it just doesn't look good.
So let me ask you, if he can't play in this series, will the rest of the season extend beyond this week? Can you see them winning 2 games from Utah without him?
No. And by the way, if you're the Utah Jazz, and I want to make sure I, give credence to the fact that the Utah Jazz are playing without Mike Conley. But losing the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard, to me, is the equivalent of the Bucks losing to the Nets, basically without Harden and Kyrie Irving. It just can't happen. It won't happen. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Jordan Clarkson, they will get it together. The Utah Jazz had the best regular season record in the entire NBA. The Clippers will not beat the Jazz if Kawhi Leonard doesn't come back.
All right.
Exactly. The Utah Jazz smell blood and the water, and it is thick.
So again, devastating news for the Clippers, for their fans, and most importantly for Kawhi. In the meantime, that's one of 2 major breaking stories we have in this hour. The other comes from Phoenix, where superstar point guard Chris Paul has entered the NBA's health and safety protocol and is out indefinitely, jeopardizing his availability for the Western Conference Finals. The source confirming that news to ESPN this morning. The Athletic first reported that Paul would be sidelined indefinitely as a result of entering the protocol. Very importantly, if he is already vaccinated against COVID, he could be facing a shorter absence from the Suns. We do not know one way or the other relative to that yet. It is an important point to make. And Jalen, you were the one who actually pointed it out to me when we ran into each other earlier this week. They have a long rest. The earliest they could play is Sunday. It could get pushed back to next Tuesday if this other series winds up going 7. So that seems as though it will work in their favor. What is your reaction to this news about Chris?
So, like I said in other videos, I don't know what it is with Chris Paul. First, he's always getting hurt in big playoff games, and now he's out for COVID protocol. It seems like the universe or something does not want Chris Paul to get to the championship and win the championship because, like I said, he's major injuries during big games, during big playoff games, and now he's out with COVID protocol. It's almost like I said, somebody or something does not want Chris Paul to get to the championship and win the championship because it's one thing after another during these big games when he's knocking on the door of getting to the championship. So I don't know what it is. I feel bad for him though because he's a baller, but it's like life just doesn't want Chris Paul to get a championship or win it, or get to a championship or win a championship. So I don't know.
Paul, unlike Kawhi, this one isn't doom and gloom for me because they're off this week. He's already been vaccinated, and I know the word indefinitely makes you feel like he may not be in the next series. I don't anticipate him missing more than one game at the most, just based on the dynamics of time and how the protocol has worked. However, has there been a guy that's an all-time great player that just gets unlucky at the wrong time, like Chris Paul? I saw it happen at different stops at every point in his career. It seems like he plays all NBA basketball, then he gets hurt. Then Blake Griffin gets hurt. And then the team misses 27 straight threes. It's always something dubious, unfortunately, for Chris Paul when his teams don't advance in the playoffs. But I think he returns for this series, Greeny. I think his leadership is going to be paramount in the next series. So don't anticipate him not playing. I know the word indefinitely is going to scare everybody, as it should. But I anticipate Chris Paul will find a way to be available for the next series.